Nash the Junkman here. How's everybody doing today? Thanks for coming and checking out my video. This one is going to be about my trailer projects. In a previous video that I'd made, it showed I'd done some work on one of my trailers. I actually have two of these trailers. I got one over here and I got one on over, and we'll take you over there in a minute. These trailers are old campers, and they're both different, but they're both kind of the same. So they're pretty well set up the same. They're built the same. If you ever tore apart a camper, this is what you're going to find. This particular one here is 6 feet wide. It's 16 feet long plus the bumper, so it's about 16 foot 8 inches or so. The axles on this, I'm going to assume they're about 1,500 pound axles. They're offset axles. They are a 5-lug with brakes, and they seem like they're pretty sturdy. The springs on them like this. I had an old flatbed 16-foot utility trailer, about the same springs, pretty close setup. I traded it off years ago for a pickup for my dad. He needed one, so I traded my trailer off for it. And, well, anyway, I'm in need. Everybody needs a trailer, you know. But you got a truck, but you need a trailer to go with it. So I'm going to be turning these trailers into flatbed trailers. This one is going to be wide enough I can pull a car on or something like that, but I got to make sure that it's strong enough to handle that. Now, if you've seen in one of my videos of Prepstetter Bob, he called me the king of overloads. Well, there's a very good reason for that, because I will push a trailer or a truck to its absolute limits when it comes to loading something. I have put 10,000 pounds in the bed of a truck before, and I drove highway speed with it. Now, this was a very heavily modified truck. It was actually a 3/4 ton pickup with springs out of a dump truck, and it was a 1-ton rear end. Now, yes, it probably shouldn't have had that much weight in the back, but we did it anyway. The highway speed, I mean 55 mile an hour, not 70. It couldn't go that fast, too low geared. But anyway, I digress. These trailers, I want to make sure I can handle pulling or putting a tractor on it or a truck or something, take it out to the junkyard, any kind of steel, whatever, and sometimes they'll come across pieces of railroad. That requires a pretty heavy trailer if you get several sticks of it. So we're going to be building these trailers up heavy enough that I can haul pretty much whatever I want. They're not going to be like crazy heavy, you know. I've only got a 1/2-ton truck right now. There's only so much I can pull with it, so these trailers are going to be basically matching that 1/2-ton truck. So we'll take a closer look at this trailer, we'll take a closer look at the other trailer, and we'll discuss kind of what I'm going to be doing with this, and then what our plans are, how we're going to set these things up, and a few little details about these trailers and how to build trailers. I've built trailers before, so a few things, just tips if you're ever wanting to build your own trailers, how to make them a little bit stronger, where, you know, your cross bracing, where to set your axles and things like that. So let's get started. Alright, so typically in a utility trailer you're going to find some kind of cross bracing. Now, being as this is a camper, this isn't going to have your typical cross bracing you would on a utility trailer. Generally you find the lighter duty, the 3,000 to 5,000 pound trailers are going to have some kind of angle iron. Well, this is kind of like that, but it's not quite as thick. It's kind of like sheet metal. I want to say this is 16th inch thick steel. I'm not sure what the gauge would be, but anyway, this stuff's fairly thin, but I believe it'd be strong enough to handle what we need to do with it. I think I am going to take some either some angle iron or just take off of that other trailer, and we're gonna add it to this trailer here. And that trailer, I may end up just taking it clear apart and then adding it to this frame, because this trailer here's built a lot heavier, it's wider, it's a touch longer, and the hubs on the axles are a little heavier. So I think I'll probably end up using this trailer for my main trailer, and then we'll take that one with the axles and we'll turn it into a couple other things. One of which on this other trailer, I'm going to turn into a water trailer, single axle water trailer. I can haul 2 tanks of water with it. I've been hauling water with my truck for my sister, and I can only haul 1 tank. It's 2,400 pounds, which is a little heavy for a 1/2-ton, technically. But I think on 1 axle there, I can get 2 tanks and probably be okay as far as I'm driving. and then we'll take the other axle and then build like maybe a yard trailer or something out of it. We'll narrow it up and build its own frame and have something I can haul around with a tractor, my truck, or just a lawnmower, something for the yard. But anyway, your cross bracing is pretty important, but as long as you got a heavy deck, that is also going to help. You can get away with a little bit lighter cross bracing. I know that my old trailer, I used to haul somewhere in the neighborhood between 4,000 to 12,000 pounds with it. It was built just like this, but it had 2-inch angle iron, 2-inch by 1/8 angle iron, and there was a couple times that I did bend it, but not severely. I used to haul tractors and trucks and everything else on it, and it stood up pretty well. So this stuff I believe is going to handle pretty good. This actually has more bracing in it than my old utility trailer. So I think we're going to keep this in, maybe add a couple pieces or two here on the end just to strengthen up where we pull vehicles on, and go from there. Now, when I mentioned the axles were offset, what I was talking about was right here where the axle meets the hub. It's got an offset piece of cast iron that is welded into here, which that may be, yeah, it's cast iron. And it is up into the hub and the brake assembly here, which, being a camper, this is going to have brakes on it, and these brakes do work. So I'm excited to have brakes on my trailer. It's nice to have that because it makes it so much easier to haul things, because it's not the going, it's the woeing. So the brakes are going to be a nice thing to have. But anyway, this right here is going to be kind of a weak point in your axle. If it was a straight axle, it would still be the weak point of the axle, but this right here would allow this to bend in the more weight you have on it. So that's why I'm thinking these aren't going to be as strong axles that I'd like to have, but I think we could probably do a 1,500 pound per axle load limit. I'm guessing that's what I assume this is. I'm not an expert on trailer axles, but I can assume that this is probably 1,500 pounds and be safe about it. Just by looking at what's online, what's for sale online and things like that, these are similar to the 1,500 pound trailer axles you can buy from like Northern Tool or Harbor Freight and so on and so forth. Now this trailer here is a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, and these tires right here are 10 ply. These are good tires. I ended up getting both these trailers for free, so I was originally going to use this trailer just because it had better tires, better wheels, things like that on it. But the problem is it's not wide enough to pull a car on, so it's not going to be as useful to me as the other one. And the other one still has most of its paint on this. This one is mostly rusted. Now, it's not rusted through, so it's good, strong trailer. But I think we're going to take this one and use it as parts for the other trailer. Now, if I can just find me some wheels, I can use these tires. These good old 10 ply tires, they're biased, unfortunately, they're not radial. But for an old trailer, these will work for now. Now this trailer here is a little over 5 feet wide. And like I say, I think I'm going to take this and use it for the other trailer. Now I will have to straighten these out. As you can see, this one's got kind of a curve to it. Now the reason that is because I was pulling the sheeting off of it, and I got a little wild with it. And it ended up pulling the trailer around a little bit, but that's okay. I think we can make do with this. But it's basically got the same support structure as the other one. So these right here I can cut off and use as corner braces, because of course they're not wide enough, but I can use these as some corner bracing maybe. The rails I can use for possibly a small dovetail, or I can run these rails, being as this is the same length as that trailer pretty well. I'm going to use it in the center for wherever you drive a car, your most heavy loads are. You can run it on these rails and you'll have double the thickness or double the strength. The two rails together basically run one rail right next to this rail, and you can drive right on that. So I think that would be probably the best way to go. And like I say, I'll probably use these axles in another small trailer. I'll probably cut them down, cut them in half, and shorten them by about a foot, maybe 2 feet. Build like maybe a plywood trailer, so like just a 4x8 sheet, something where I don't have to cut a lot, and I can just get the pieces, 4-foot pieces and 8-foot pieces, which generally if you go out and find steel that's been cut, they're about that long anyway, so the dimensions will be right to where I have the least amount of work to do. And as far as our decking goes, if you do a 2x material, which this is just sitting on here, this isn't going to be our decking because it's obviously too short, but if you use 2x decking material, so 2x10, 2x12, what have you, that is going to give you the most amount of strength for your decking material other than steel. Now, this is obviously way cheaper than a steel deck, but it's, I mean, as far as the money goes, and that's what I'm about, is just making sure that I do it for the as cheap as possible. And I gave $1 for this board, and I know I can go get more just like this for $1 a piece. Now, if you can't find treated lumber, which is that's the best way to go, you can get regular lumber and just put Thompson's water seal on it and just treat it, and that'll typically, they'll hold up for quite a few years before you have to change it out. Now in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to have to put up something here to keep the decking on there, and I think what I'll probably end up having to do is just weld on a flat piece of steel that's high enough to catch this and go down here to where I can weld it on. Otherwise, we're going to put on some angle iron or something like that and just wrap the whole frame in angle, and then set the boards inside that, and then just have a strip of flat or angle that goes over this. You can bolt right down, and it's going to be the same thing on the other end. Now, this trailer here, I want to keep it as a flatbed, but I have to have some kind of strength, I don't know, I guess side to side. So with that being said, I think I'm going to have to do rails. So you do angle iron rails, the length of it, and across the front here. Now with that, that gives you basically set up a ladder type structure along the side of the trailer. And if you've ever seen a trailer, you know what I'm talking about, where you have a rail run all the way down, and then basically angles that come from your top rail down to the frame. And that gives you rigidity throughout the entire trailer, gives you a little bit of added strength. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this. It also gives you a place to hook on straps and chains and so on and so forth. But that's the plan with this trailer and the other trailer. I am going to keep that jack. That's a good Atwood jack. It's nice and smooth, so we're going to keep that. I'll probably end up having to replace the actual hitch there. It's pretty wore out, but I think I'll probably take it off the other trailer and then add it to this one. And then I'm also going to do a small toolbox right here. And right now, we're just kind of playing it by ear as far as the projects go. Being as this one is going, I'm going to have to actually put some money into this to get it going. I'm going to have to get new wheels and tires and things like that. And the reason being is these wheels are all bent. This trailer was actually in a crash, a rollover, and they bent all 4 of the wheels. So all the wheels are trash. And that's unfortunate because I don't want to have to buy new wheels and tires. But I think I might be able to come up with something back up in Wisconsin. I still have a trailer up there, and I think I may just rob the axles off that, because they are a straight 8-bolt axle, and that will add so much strength to the axles on here just to have those instead of these offsets. And then of course that'll give me 2 extra axles I can play with. But anyway, that's going to be our project here. Just giving you an update on what we're doing with the trailers, where I cleaned all this up and everything. My daughter helped. She was out there with a hammer beating on the sheeting. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Just a little update on what we got going on here in these projects. So just hang with us, and we'll do some more on this here in the next few weeks.